And just as I put that up, it said, Facebook stopped your broadcast. And I'm like, really? Did it? I got to make sure. I'm like, I just really don't have time for this today. Oh, so how are you doing, Margot?
I'm pretty good. 6 planets are in retrograde. Can you feel it? And the white hats are on the move, and the black hats are throwing haymakers as they exit the building. Oh my God, technology is so screwed up lately.
Oh, my
When it
Lord.
rains, it pours, right?
Right. Um,
For sure. Well, if you're watching us on YouTube, say hi and give us confirmation that YouTube even hears us. Usually, most
uh,
people come to us through Facebook, but some people come in through YouTube, and
yeah.
and that's good too. Perhaps we should put a post on Facebook to go to YouTube.
That's what I'm thinking because
It's
I'm
not.
not
You know what?
seeing.
I'm seeing both Facebook icon and the YouTube icon in destinations at the top of the screen.
Yeah, me too. But
That doesn't mean the same thing.
I can't. I can't find the. I can't find it playing on Facebook. Ugh!
All right, I'm gonna put a note
Okay,
that if your link isn't working, please go to Facebook. Brr, brr, brr.
that'll be great. No, let me see. Liz Palia, Palia, Palia.
Yeah,
I'm
Palia,
sorry,
Liz Palia.
Palia.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And I think you're joining us from Facebook, so I'm glad you found us. Thank you. Now, I don't know why Facebook did what it did, but it's Facebook. It does what it wants to. So thank you. I'm glad to know YouTube's working. Oh.
Excellent. Thank you, Liz.
Are you getting it posted on the
I did.
page?
I just
Okay.
posted it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So hopefully
Just in
people will.
case somebody else has a sticky problem.
Yeah, I'm hoping that people will find their way over. So I appreciate Elizabeth being patient with us for the moment. But yay!
No worries. We needed
um,
it.
yes. Um, so while we're waiting to see if people find us over on YouTube, do you want to do the?
Housekeeping.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Welcome to Eyes of Indigo. I'm Margot. That's Iris. And I don't know what side of the screen she's on for you, but
I don't know where I am either.
over one of the airways. She's the other person in here. And welcome to the show. We have been doing this since September of 2020, almost weekly. I'd say about 95% of the time. Wednesday nights, 9:30 Eastern time. And if you are new to the show and you don't know much about Iris or Margot yet, feel free to check out our credentials and our background and our experience on the very first episode that was posted in September of 2020. And it's called The Prequel. And it will give you a rundown in a fun conversation that Iris and I had, rattling off our credentials and experiences, leading us up to why do we do this show talking about, which is our logo, discussing weird stuff in a rational way. And crazy little cute weird bird there with the shocked eyeballs. And we cover almost every topic that is weird, and then some. But our goal is ultimately to share tools, understanding, learning, insight, enlightenment, humor, love, compassion, self deprecation, all kinds of stuff, to share those concepts and practices with other people so that you too can shift or just be happier in a time in history when a lot of people are struggling to experience happiness, for 1, 2, 12, 15, couple of thousand different reasons. that are prevalent in today's society. Um, every now and then we say something controversial as well. However, if I'm also talking to somebody in the future, you can also catch this broadcast in audio on Spotify and iTunes and all their aggregates, wrong word, aggregates associated to them. And you can also see a playlist sorted by keywords based on the topics because we have covered so many topics and we have so many more to go. You can find the um, keyword playlist and search for which episode talks about which topics. There's multiple top episodes on some topics on Iris's website, iriscarter.com. Iriscarter.com. And you can go to the main menu. You can click through. It tells you exactly what to click, how to surf through and make it work for you from that web page as well. So lots of useful information there. And we're shifting now into today's episode, today's topic. What is the stank with pain?
Yeah. So tonight, what's this think about pink? Pink doesn't go with orange. You always think about October being orange. Yet the pastel color is pasted everywhere in October. How did this happen? What's the real story behind the veil of illusion? So we're going to shred up the ribbon and we're taking names. So,
Hell yeah.
yes. We will be talking about that. But before we start that, we want to
Shift for a minute.
yeah, just for a minute. We are talking about we're adding a few minutes at the beginning of each show called Behind the Curtain. We're gonna try to keep this up. And it's just odd stuff that you kind of go, what the heck? Or did you see this kind of thing? And earlier this
Whiskey Tango
week,
Foxtrot, Iris.
do what?
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Iris.
Yeah.
Remember that around the bonfire?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Well, I was on Twitter, and somebody posted this video and put Whiskey Tango Foxtrot on.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
We
and
swear on this show, so
yes,
please feel free to join in.
and as I was looking at it, I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And started going down a very deep and twisted and perverted rabbit hole. And I said, I think I found our behind the curtain for this week. It all centers around a tunnel that was built in it was finished. It took 17 years to build. It cost $11 billion and is 35 and a half miles long. It's the world's deepest traffic tunnel and the longest railway tunnel.
Known
And
to the
it
public.
open to the public, and it goes
Well, it's not
from
the deepest and it's not the longest in the world, but it's probably the big deepest and longest that they've advertised publicly.
well, it says it's the longest railway tunnel.
Another,
Well, I
another
know. I
qualifier.
mean, of what we know, what the public knows about it. Let
Thank
me put it
you.
that
That's what
way.
I'm
Thank
trying to.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there is a caveat. And they say that okay, it opened on June 1st, 2016, and it's called the Goddard Base Tunnel, and it runs basically from well, it's under the Alps from Switzerland to Germany. And they have some other like higher up the Alps
The
tunnel.
hills are alive with the sound of children
Eh,
screaming.
yes, I know it. And so what they did was they had this huge opening ceremony where they invited all of these people, like heads of state. Angela Merkel was there, and that sort of thing. And I'm going to show the opening ceremony, a clip from it, and there's no real explanation, so we can talk over it and show you some of the things that happened during it. And
It's
uh,
related to CERN.
yeah, this is parts from the opening ceremony of this big tunnel. You see the Alps in the background.
And you get a real good idea who actually owns that, or did actually own that tunnel. We have a goat guy running around in smoke and flame.
And then they had this big paneled screen up behind the staging area, and it looks like bugs on the wall. They've got these hay bales that are dancing people. That's just sort of the intro. 5 white horses coming in. Some people say the white horses are the 4 horsemen. And now it's a bunch of workers in orange suits walking in, and the people have equivalent of this is a representation is the average American worker, or not American but world worker. And then they end up suddenly they're without clothes, and they're just robotic, and they also
This is
were
about
like
opening a tunnel. This is about opening a railway tunnel.
yes.
And the fruitlessness of climbing rocks and falling down every time you try. All the workers, they keep trying and failing.
There were 9 workers that died during the making of this tunnel. And the workers are now all in their underwear, walking around, and they're like, and then they come back in white sheets, so they're saying these are the ghosts of the workers. Then you got this vortex thing in the background, and you got the little goat man dancing around again.
The demon goat thing, the devil goat thing, running around stabbing people. Those are scarabs, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Which are afterlife dead symbols of death and dying and having power after death.
And then I don't know what the hell the 5 jets are, but that just gives
it's a little
you
more chemtrails just to heighten the occasion. So anyway, this was all in 2016.
Yes, and so people are still trying to figure out what the hell was that about. And they said even the people that attended the event were like going, what in God's name is going on? Well, the interesting thing about a couple of interesting things about this base tunnel. There was a lot of references to CERN. And CERN is the company in Europe that is doing the particle separations and things. If you haven't heard about them, look them up. But they've got that big, atom blaster.
Yeah. They smash atoms, and they're trying to mess with fusion fission, and they ended up messing with the time-space continuum fabric instead.
Right. And what is interesting is
creating the God particle. They're trying to create the God particle. Yeah.
And other people have analyzed CERN along with one of
symbolism.
Yes, and how you can see the 6s in their symbol, as well as a few others that I will not mention because I don't want to get slapped with a lawsuit. But it was just an interesting comparison. And then let me see what else I wanted to show on that, because I think I'm trying to clean up my timeline here too. So there we go. Okay. So the other thing is, just to bring out a couple of other points, the debate on the CERN's involvement in building this tunnel, it continues, but they happen to have a talk about the tunnel that is saved on their website. Go figure. Why would they care about the tunnel and why would they talk about it if they weren't involved in some way? The CIA headquarters under Lake Geneva is only accessible by underground trains from CERN and by submarines which travel through subterranean tunnel that begins in Geneva in Italy and ends in Lake Geneva. Um, what the other interesting thing is there was a video 2 months later, well, 2 months later in August of 2016. Video was made on the Geneva campus of CERN that shows individuals in black cloaks gathering for a reenactment of an occult ceremony and includes a staged stabbing of a woman. The spokesperson said that CERN IDs are checked and that those in the prank had access badges. So they know that it was people that had access badges and that their security is secure. But this is the quote that really got me from CERN. CERN welcomes every year thousands of scientific users from all over the world, and sometimes some of them let their humor go too far. This is what happened on this occasion. Is that an interesting response? Oh, isn't that funny what they did? They had passes. It's all good.
I was going to say that's a whitewash. If I've ever seen that. That response is very milk toast, considering
Yes.
considering the magnanimity of doing that.
So what I encourage is there are plenty of videos that analyze that opening ceremony of the Goddard Bridge. It's Gotthard, the Goddard Base Bridge, because there's other bridges in that same range called the Goddard. But if you look up
Goddard Base Tunnel,
the Goddard Base Tunnel, yeah, not a bridge, the Goddard Base Tunnel, and you start searching and use DuckDuckGo, or
you won't get there.
Yeah.
You won't find my.
Yeah, DuckDuckGo.com and look it up and look up the opening ceremony. And there are people that spend a lot of time explaining
Analyzing.
all bits of that. It's just interesting.
You learn a lot about nefarious symbolism.
Yes.
Really fast. Yeah.
Very much.
There's a ton of it in there. Nefarious symbolism.
Right.
It's a very nice way to put it.
So, to get to our topic of today, regarding what's the stink about pink, I guess what I want to start with, I guess to kind of help with the introduction, it was interesting. 9 years ago, I was working with a friend's magazine, and this was the cover. I came up for it because we were covering breast cancer and domestic violence in this. It's a freebie magazine that's given out in Fayetteville. And I was like, at the time, I knew about the pink washing and that sort of stuff, which I'll explain in a minute. But I begged her, I said, please let me write an article kind of informing people about the history. I really wanted to just rip everything apart, but she was like, no, you can't do that. And I said, okay. So I dug into the history and all. And Napoleon understood the human psyche and the need for recognition. And he began honoring actions of soldiers by decorating them with ribbons. You know how, so we have medals and ribbons, and that has continued. And a quote from Napoleon is, a man will fight long and hard for a bit of colored ribbon. And of course, that's still used today by the military. The Puritan army wore yellow sashes and ribbon during the English Civil War. And by 1917, the song She Wore a Yellow Ribbon became popular, even though it's believed to have been around for several centuries. Then, over time, the song was recorded by various artists. And another story circulated of a convict who, when released from prison and returning home, asked his family to tie a white ribbon around the tree. He asked a fellow passenger to keep watch for the ribbon as he was too nervous to look for himself. A couple of movies echoed the story, and of course, Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Oak Tree was made popular by Tony Orlando and Dawn and brought the story to life. The yellow ribbon grew from representing forgiveness and welcome to being used during the Iranian hostage crisis in 1979. Penny Langan tied a ribbon around a tree in her yard with hope that her husband Bruce would untie it when he was released. Others picked up the idea. The yellow ribbons went across the country. Then they started using it for welcoming soldiers home from tours of duty. The red ribbons emerged in the early 90s as a symbol of AIDS recognition. And it became real popular because it was shown on the Tony Awards and went from there.
Viral.
Yeah. But today, ribbon campaigns have become easily recognized and are creation of magnets, stickers, clings, pins, everything. There's no regulations existing on their use. So anyone can adopt and adjust any ribbon for any cause. The colors have metamorphosed into entire campaigns built around a color. While the ventures are admirable, creative, and helpful, consumers should be savvy in knowing where donations are spent, how
Yeah.
much of a purchase goes towards the cause they support. The term "a portion of proceeds will be donated to" is vague and can be applied whether it's 1% or 99% of an item's
Or
cost.
1% of 1 cent.
Yes, the solidarity and intent of ribbons are noble and have been used with great success, but some see it as an opportunity for commerce. So it's just a matter of keeping people informed about it. Well, what we have learned in the process, so in the well, in fact, I'm going to show this. Okay, there was a woman, and just kind of give you a little bit of background. There was a woman in, I'm trying to find her name. I'm getting, oh, no, that was hers. Several prominent explain for, no, no, no. Now, of course, now I can't find her name. That's the way it goes. Dang it. It'll come up again, and you'll see her in a video in just a minute. But this woman was making up little cards that had 5 peach ribbons attached to them. And she would give them out, and she ended up giving out thousands of them. And she would give them out because her mother and her daughters and other female relatives of hers had breast cancer, and she was trying to bring awareness to the disease and making women aware and to get their checks and checkups and that sort of thing. So she would hand out these cards with these 5 ribbons, and so you take one and pass the other 4 around. And her campaign was going great, and somebody found out about it. Estee Lauder and Self Magazine were working together.
Estee Lauder is a famous cosmetic company.
Right. And they were working together. They had done a breast cancer awareness like the year before, and they wanted to do something, as a year later. And they said, okay, we're going to do another magazine. And what does Estee Lauder want? There was somehow they got involved, and they said, well, let's call this woman and see if she'll let us use her peachy ribbons. And the woman said, absolutely not. You're going to commercialize it, and that's not what this is about. So they checked with their attorneys, and the attorneys said, pick a different color. So they did. They just picked pink, and they picked the most basic pink that's out there. Even the pink ribbon people said, it's the probably the best pink you can pick, for something like that. And so they took off with the pink
It's a basic
ribbon.
hot pink. Yeah.
Yeah, and they and things took off from there, and it just snowballed. And so let me show a little bit of this. Let's see what
We're talking about the dramatic commercialization.
Right. In fact, there's a movie called Pink Incorporated, and I'm going to show the trailer to that. Pink Incorporated talks about the business end of the pink industry. And I believe that was the film. I can't find the reference now. I tried to find it before the show, but I think it was in that movie where I saw that. I totally went out of my head. Wait a minute. It'll come back. Come on back. Come on back. Oh, that the I told you to come back. The back in the 70s, mid to late 70s, women's cancer was not being researched. All the cancer research was on men.
Testicular cancers and so on.
Right.
Men's cancers, yeah.
So the women were protesting. A lot of the feminists and women's rights movements were protesting
cervical cancer, breast cancer, and so on.
Research labs for okay, we want more of your dollars going to women's issues, with the cervical breast and that sort of thing. Thank you, Edie. I'm so glad. I did put the link up on Facebook, but I didn't know. We tried.
Facebook's not behaving, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, they said that the women were protesting, wanting more research for women's cancers. And the pharmaceutical companies and research companies that were being harassed by the protesters managed to gaslight it.
It's called
spin on it.
Which is gaslighting. Gaslighting, yes.
Aren't these people wonderful for raising awareness?
Not that they're protesting a travesty. We're gonna pink wash, whitewash.
Yes.
Right over that.
Right over that, and all these people are raising awareness, and we're so glad. And more people were brought in to, yes, let's raise awareness, and the people who were originally protesting are going, what the fuck are y'all talking about? So they just kind of took over. Pink washing.
Gee, that sounds familiar.
Yes.
Let's see, 2020 protests that got hijacked by opposite factions. Okay.
Yes.
I digress. Go ahead.
Yes, you are right on track. So I want to show you the trailer of this Pink Incorporated. So let me put that on, and wait a minute. And turn, and I don't know why I'm getting all this other crap up here. Wait a minute, I got to go back to that. Nope, that's not the one. This is the one. Here we go. Copy. Don't go away. All right. Yeah. Are you getting it now?
No, it's still just showing us a screen from YouTube with about 12 other related.
Weird. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me hide it.
It didn't stay queued up, did it?
No, of course not. Of course not.
She had it queued up just right to start at a certain time so you could get the crux and the meat of the video instead of making you sit through all 5 minutes.
There you go.
There you go.
This is just the trailer.
Are you ready to walk? Since our inception, we have donated over $1.5 billion.
Where's the cure?
We do use a lot of upbeat music, and we try to use a lot of words like inspiring and hope.
If you are a breast cancer survivor, raise your hands high above your head.
Can we take a step back? What is going on?
We're missing something big.
Raising money has become the priority regardless of the consequences.
If people actually knew what was happening, they would be really pissed off. The first ribbon was salmon-colored, made by a woman named Charlotte Haley. Estee Lauder came to her and said, "We love your ribbon, and we want to make this a symbol of breast cancer." And Charlotte said, "No, that's about your bottom line."
They said, well, all we have to do if we want it is to change the ribbon.
Pink.
It is hypocrisy to use carcinogens in products and at the same time be raising money for a cure.
As you can see behind me, we handed out 12,000 bottles of Honest Tea and Honest Aid today.
It's almost like our disease is being used for people to profit. And that's not okay.
I wish they could also hear from all the women who have been through breast cancer and resent the effort to make it pretty and feminine and normal. It's not normal. It's horrible. It has to be stopped.
For people to finally rise up and object,
That's a sick
they
name
have
right
to
there.
be aware of the lies they're being fed.
We have to really take on the challenge of finding the cause and stopping it.
We're living, we're human beings. We're not just a little pink ribbon.
When ordinary people do a simple thing, it changes the world.
Ta-da!
Yeah. So that's
synopsis there.
Right. And it's a movie worth searching for and watching. There's also
It's basically a documentary, is it not? More than a
yeah. I mean, it's not a movie. It's a documentary going behind the, talking about all the stuff behind the scenes and stuff like that. This I just wanted to show a little bit because it shows
controversial.
Yeah, some of the products.
The source of cancer is jaw dropping.
Yeah,
really dig in there.
All right, so I just wanted to show.
Go, Edie.
Yeah.
Edie typed, I resemble
those
remarks.
Yeah. All right, so let me go back over
the history of the pink ribbon.
Yeah, and this is here we go. I had to find what page got the original on. Okay, so just a little bit about this. This was on the Daily Show. Baker Hughes made, or basically they do fracking. They're one of the biggest.
Not even basically, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah,
they drill for frack into getting extra oil out of deposits using chemical, using carcinogenic, carcinogenic cancer causing.
And they painted their little drill bit pink, and they gave $100,000 to the cause. Whoopee!
One of the ladies goes on to say $100,000 to the cause. A typical breast cancer patient will spend $130,000 a year getting treated. So $100,000 is nothing over years and thousands of people getting cancer. All right, let's see. You want thousands and thousands of people to give you millions of dollars every year to pretend to treat their stuff, or you want to accept $100,000 and suddenly invent a cure that stops all those millions from coming to you? Which one do you think corporate America is going to pick?
All right. And a lot of the companies, you look at all the drug companies and things and pharmaceutical companies that do things for breast cancer awareness and all, and but they're the ones reaping in all the money. They've got, Kentucky Fried Chicken, when they did the pink buckets of chicken.
Kind of chicken breasts. Ha ha.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's true too. I didn't even think about that. And then they say that the fatty oils and stuff are some attributed to some cancers. So it's that is pink washing when a company
contributes to ill health or carcinogens,
and then makes money off of the promotion,
of pink sales. Yeah,
pink sales, and they also there is no regulation. And they actually do make products that are pink that don't give any money to research. They just are jumping on the bandwagon, and there's no money going to it.
Thus, pink washing.
Yes. And so that's where you need to, ask the questions. How much? Hewlett Packard was famous for giving 1% of the income off of their pink stuff to breast cancer aware. 1%. A company like Hewlett Packard, and they couldn't do better than that. So that's what happens with a lot of these companies, or they'll give a 0.5%, or they jack the prices up, paint it pink
to cover
the donation that they're making. So it's just wrong on so many levels, and they've just bastardized the pink ribbon cause. And Estee Lauder was the first one, because she took the peach ribbon, and turned it pink, and then created a product with the pink ribbon on it. And Self Magazine, I think, advertised it or something, or did a story on it. Oh, look what Estee Lauder's doing! It's like, Jesus, And even the woman that was somebody Lauder, she's like the daughter of Estee Lauder, or granddaughter, where she was like the CEO at the time. She had breast cancer, but she still allowed this money making process off
it's
of
marketing. It's a marketing scam.
Yeah.
Scheme and scam. Yeah, it's a marketing tool.
Edie says she had 4 shots, and one was $11,000, and that was just for one. Yeah. That was just one drug.
That was just one drug.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way they're gonna offer a cure for a multi-billion-dollar industry like disease, especially this. See, you know what? I want to talk about something related instead of saying the word over and over and over. Mm-hmm. For right now, I'm calling it the C word. I learned this perspective from a really good friend of ours, Dr. Harrison Graves. He's a retired ER physician out of Raleigh. I believe it was Duke Hospital. For 25 years, he was an ER doctor. He became a sound therapist in the Ayurvedic. His wife became an Ayurvedic healer and therapist as well. And anyway, you can look up Harrison Graves, and he's got all kinds of articles and newsletters and healing mantras, and sound yoga is part of his thing now. So he brought it to speaking, sound, words. They all mean something. And he brought something to my awareness. He and his wife were talking to me and my husband, socially, and he kept referring to something calling it the Canada. And, but, don't take too much of that, because, there's records that it shows that you can get the Canada from that. And so was trying to avoid getting the Canada, and so on and so on. And after a couple minutes, I figured out context. He was using the word Canada instead of the CANCER word. Because, let's talk metaphysical. In the metaphysical world, when you say the name of something, someone, a concept, a belief, a thought, a feeling, anything, if you put it in a word, if you say it out loud, you are giving it that much more power to keep on existing. Where your attention goes is where reality manifests. What you say becomes reality. What you think becomes what you say. What you say becomes what is heard. What is heard becomes what is done. And what is done is reality. So, mind your language. Be careful what you give word to.
In that vein, I am constantly fighting.
Right there. Good example. Yeah.
I am constantly informing people to stop saying that they are battling or fighting that disease, because if you ask for a battle or a fight, that is exactly what it's going to give you. And you see it all the time. The give money to F the, not fuck the can, but to
F the Canada.
Yeah.
Right. We're battling the Canada again. Join us in our fight against Canada.
Yeah.
You know, I know that sounds funny, but you guys now know what I'm talking about. So, so it's
Or
interesting.
Candida. No, I don't want to give that any.
Well, you don't want to give that energy either. Yeah, I know. I thought about what are alternative words, and Canada gets you the closest without
Thank you,
with a
Edie.
totally different connotation to it.
Edie's
So that's
agreeing
much
with
more
us.
positive. So yeah, so interestingly, guys, pay attention to also this. Our culture and even factions in our government have made October Canada Awareness Month.
I'm sorry.
Yep, not crazy about Survivor either, right?
Yeah.
That's another word that you want to think twice about.
Well, and that implies that you had a fight.
Yeah, Survivor means Survivor means you're struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been weakened somehow, and that you're alive but barely. So that it makes you vulnerable if you understand what the word survivor means. So where I was going with that is, guys, the whole intention that they sell us or that they tell us is supposed to be for eradicating the Canada in women in October, but instead they keep saying October is Canada Awareness Month. October is um you know
Pink month.
pink, yeah, but they're using the word Canada over and over and over and over. Join us in the battle against Canada and da 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 da. Why is okay? Negativity doesn't help either. So battling and fighting, like ours just said, isn't working either. Why? If you look at it from that metaphysical point of view, and this is an emotional freedom technique as well. Watch what you say because you manifest that energy. Excuse me. And as there's other techniques that's also a part of Iris, what is it that you do?
Theta healing.
Theta healing is about that. We specific choose your words carefully for manifesting purposes. All right. Instead of making October Breast Canada Awareness Month, which is what it's typically called, October Breast Canada Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't it just called Women's Health Awareness? I mean, you could say Great Boobs Month or Save the Tatas.
Save the Tatas, yeah.
Those are actually names of factions that claim to capture money to do research. And it's cute and that's all cool. But we're still Americans basically that came from Puritan culture, so we're still real squeamish about talking about human body parts. Too obviously right now. So
I've got a secret. All women have boobs.
Guys do too, except for they got social permission to show theirs. Yeah, I was going to say, you want to talk about what the hell is the deal with that? Why, just because they're little? Does that mean flat-chested women can go topless like guys? No, it's sexism. It's because you're female. So anyway,
heaven forbid we show our mammary glands.
Yeah, just because ours are functional. And what do we do with them? We feed sacred creatures called babies. And we should cover them up and be ashamed and let them be sexualized only. That's why they're covered up, because they're sexualized. So anyway, the whole point of where I was going with that was instead of Canada Awareness Month, it should be Women's Health Awareness, or take out the word women, because that's a separating concept as well. It just should be Health Awareness Month, period.
Yeah.
What are the stats for cancer now compared to in the 70s that you mentioned?
I saw that women, it used to be 8 in 10 women.
No, 1 out of 8.
1 out of 8. I'm sorry.
Now, I guess
It's
that's
1
one
out of
of
8 now. It used to be 1 out of oh God, now I don't remember. Jesus.
yeah, it was somewhere around that
Bottom line, it got worse. In other words,
from the
it's like
60s. Yeah, once the
right.
70s and 80s hit, it got worse.
Yeah.
Used to be like 1 in 10 or 20 got breast cancer, and now it's like 1 in 8. Yes, hazardous when cooking and ironing. Yes, chemicals, guys, man-made chemicals and
Boobs. Remember
radiation.
Mrs. Doubtfire? Her boobs caught on fire.
I've only been a woman for 1 day, and I'm already having hot flashes. It sounded like Julia Child. Yeah, chemicals are a big one, but there's an even bigger cancer causer, Canada causer. Erase, cancel, delete. There is a bigger Canada causer, and that's
Say that 10
radiation.
times fast.
Radiation.
There's a couple other things I wanted to point out.
5G,
One,
4G, television, radio, cell phones, computers, microwaves, television.
another thing
On
is
and on
in
and
the
on.
way that we approach
Power
the
lines.
healing.
Power lines. That's another one. Yeah.
The way we approach the healing. I learned through Theta Healing, those particular cells don't think that they're bad.
Right.
They're just there. They're doing their
what they were
thing.
designed to do. Yeah.
Right. And they don't realize that they're bad. And so
they don't realize they're harmful.
They're harmful, right. And I don't like using the good and bad terminology. BC is another good thing to thank you, Edie.
Thank you, Edie.
That and actually in Theta, when we do an internal body scan and we see them, we can talk to them and tell them,
they are
you need to you're harming this body and you need to move and like if you just tell them to leave, they're going, well, where are we going to go? And so you have to explain to them that they can change and morph into something different and to be more supportive of the organism.
They can change into a healthy cell structure instead of a bastardized cell structure.
Right. Yeah. And it's just, they just don't realize. And okay.
They can also head for the large intestine and get pooped out and go be with the rest of the world, starting with the sewer system.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
they
true.
They can go fertilize and be something else that way as well.
Right.
They have choices.
Yes. And a lot of it, and so here we're throwing chemicals and stuff down people. Not that I would never, ever say don't do the stuff that is recommended by medical physicians, but there is additional stuff that you can do, so maybe you don't have to go through the struggles of the treatment processes.
Do the research.
Yes.
Alternative treatments, second, third, and fourth opinions, etc., etc., etc.
Right. And the other thing is, when we were talking earlier about, why they're not finding a cure, I have found tons of articles about people who did find a cure and they were murdered. And there's lots of those stories out there. Again, do the research. But, when you think about how many centers there are specifically for it, and you think about the oncologists, the nurses, the pharmacy companies, the laboratories, the radiologists,
makers, the technology makers,
the equipment, home health,
insurance companies,
all of that, billions and billions, trillions of dollars.
Cosmetology, the cosmetic and rehab industry afterwards. Good God, it's multi-billions of dollars. Sort of like the fuel industry.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
It's everywhere. And then again, that's why they call it the healthcare industry, which we talked about last week. So if you missed that show, go back and see that. But another big frustration for now in Greensboro. Wow, 2 of those centers. My sister was diagnosed with BC about 10 years ago, 10, 11 or 12 years ago now. And she she had a very rare but severe type, and it's uh, inflammatory BC.
Mm.
And what it does is it shows up as like inflammation and redness. And a lot of doctors say, "Oh, you probably just got an infection, a cyst or something. We'll give you an antibiotic. If it doesn't go away, come back in about 3 weeks." Well, it only has a 50% recovery rate and is one of the most aggressive types of that cancer that you can get. And so, um, her doctor said, "I don't like the looks of it." Her doctor said, "I'd like to think that it's just an infection, but I want you right now. We're going to send you and get you an appointment to
Mammogram.
get and the scan or whatever." They had a double of a time because it was October and she couldn't get an appointment. It was like she's trying to get this appointment, and she's wanting to go, and they're like, "Well, we got trying to work you in," but and it was just frightening for her because she knew the urgency. And when she finally goes in, and they've got, how they'll take you back, and then they have you change clothes, and then they'll put you in another little waiting room.
Right.
She's sitting in this other little waiting room, twiddling her thumbs and just really nervous.
Right before you go up, go in for the machine. Right.
Right. And this other woman comes in and sits next to her, and she's got a little baggie that has all these goodies in it. And she goes, "Don't you just love October? I love coming to get my mammogram in October because they give you all this cool free stuff."
Swag bag. She wanted the swag.
She wanted the swag, and my sister just wanted to punch her out because she was taking up space for patients who really needed to be seen. As opposed to, you can get that anytime. Why are you
here now?
Yeah. Other than it's for that stupid pink shit that they give out. And
toothpaste, pink shoelaces, pink USB chargers, things that have nothing to do. Anyway.
Yeah. And so that was where my sister's frustration started. And then she was sharing stuff that I'd already kind of heard about the pink washing and the pink incorporated and that sort of stuff. And she was like, "Have you seen this? And have you seen that?" And that's when I really did my deep dive way back then to become more informed. I already knew some of it, and I was already skeptical of the damn pink ribbon campaign. And, and so now it's all I can do not to throw up every time I see that stuff, because it's like people don't fall for that shit. There's other ways to be supportive and helpful and awareness.
Women's health.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Women's health, all women's health, not just BC, not just Canada's. All of women's health needs to be supported. Women's health for hundreds of years has been second-class citizen compared to men's health progresses, such as, look who has birth control primarily now. Women, where it's easier to control birth on the men's side of the procreation process. No.
But they want to put women on pills was the big thing.
Gee, what else is in that pill?
And who's making those pills?
Yeah, who's profiting from it, really? On the financial side. Yeah, follow the money, 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 follow the money. That is how you find out who's behind and what their motive is.
Yes. I mean, it's insane.
The fracking drill bit painted hot pink, that to me was over the top. Because fracking has hundreds of carcinogenic chemicals in it. And they have the fucking nerve to say doing our bit because you painted your drill bit hot pink.
Like that's going to change anything.
Do we
And
really?
$100,000. And how much money are they making off that endeavor? While they're killing people in the process?
And all that free advertising, shit, flashing their business name over and over and over. I mean,
Why
that's
do you think
it's
there's so
shame
many sponsors at these runs and things?
because
Because
they know there's a bunch of viewers on the ground. Yeah, they know it will be seen. They know their names will be seen. It's marketing. It's marketing. So that was why we created this episode.
yes,
To bring you awareness. Yeah.
So we
yeah.
apologize for the Facebook
Slow start. Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully, if hopefully people, I'll be posting the link again, and hopefully people will catch it on Facebook.
Gee, I wonder
Anyway.
why Facebook put the kibosh on this episode.
I don't know, and I got to see because it said when as soon as it started, Facebook has blocked this, and look at the terms of agreement, and I'm like, what?
So it actually got blocked. Yeah. Interesting. Something in the description must have triggered them. So,
Well, I hope. That just shows it was on target.
It shows you that we're saying something important.
Yeah.
Whether it was the peek behind, it might have been the peek behind the curtain at the beginning of the show. If you missed it, feel free to rewind and check.
But we didn't advertise that. So.
That's true. Well, I mentioned it that there was a peek behind the curtain. I did not name what it was or who it was associated to.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're right. That part probably, but that's true. They cut us off before we started talking about it. Interesting.
As soon as I tried to start it went. But
so okay, so it was something about pink washing that
right.
Yes, seriously.
Yes, seriously, Edie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They cut us off before we got started.
Something about pink washing.
Mm-hmm.
October. Yep. Interesting.
So, because I even am wording it. I mean, think about pink. Yeah, I'll have to look and see if I can find out why. But who knows? Half the time they don't explain themselves anyway. But coming up next week, we're doing the psychic readings, and the week after that, Dale Stacy is joining us.
Yay!
And then October 26th,
yeah.
green chakra.
The heart chakra, one of the more powerful ones. Amazing, cool stuff in the last week. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Edie, for all your participation, and hopefully others will catch this later.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate you being here, and namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details at www.facebook.com/Eyes of Indigo. Show is copyrighted 2022 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. All rights reserved.